Hey, everybody, welcome to episode number 23 of the Debt Free Dad podcast. You know, one of the more common questions that we get is, Brad, I need to control my spending. What can I do to stop my impulsive and wasteful shopping habits? Now, today, we're going to be sharing 5 tips that are going to help you stop those spending habits. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the Debt Free Dad podcast, where we're helping normal, everyday people learn how to save money and kick debt so they can live a happier and stress-free life. Now here's your host, Debt Free Dad, Brad Nelson.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to today's show. You can find me on Facebook, Pinterest, YouTube, and Instagram. Just search Brad Nelson, Debt Free Dad. And we would love to connect with you. So, guys, we got a hot topic today. Probably, surprisingly enough, this is probably one of the more common questions that we do get as it relates to people asking for help. It's not always budgeting or saving or getting out of debt, but it's just, hey, I know I'm my own worst enemy, and how can I fix some of these issues? And I got a doozy of a story for you guys here in just a minute. Because if you think just because you're debt-free, you got it all figured out, you are sorely mistaken, all right? I've got I haven't shared this with anybody yet. I haven't shared it in my root. I haven't shared it with anybody yet. It's pretty embarrassing, to be honest with you, because I teach this stuff, and man, I blew it big time, so I got to share this story. But check this out, and we mentioned some of these statistics in a recent podcast in episode number 18 when we were talking about the 10 kind of most common budget busters. So if you're going through your budget and you're having difficulty with that, you're like wondering, hey, what's causing all these problems? I definitely check out episode number 18 because that's going to kind of bring to the surface some of the major issues that most people tend to have when it comes to budgeting and what's causing their budget to bust. So here are some statistics from that episode that I just want to bring up for today's conversation about this impulsive and wasteful spending habits. Statistic number 1 says the average American makes 3 impulsive purchases every single week, or 156 per year. Now, according to a recent one-poll study commissioned by Slick Deals, and it's also estimated that we will spend over $300,000 in our lifetime on impulse purchases, which that number, it blew me away when I saw that. That's a big number. So what I did is I kind of averaged that out. So from the age of kind of a legal adult age of 18 to 79 years, which is just a little bit of rounding up for the typical age or lifespan of an individual, that comes out to $4,687.50 a year that we could likely on average be wasting on impulsive, unplanned purchases. That is a lot of cash. And guys, we talked about this too. There's that meme that, goes around that talks about how do you waste $10,000 in 1 year? Well, you just spend $27.40 a day, and that's 10 grand in 1 year. That's well over this 4,700 rough number. I mean, that's pretty eye-opening.
Brad, I went to the store yesterday to buy hot dog buns because everything was closed. It's a holiday here. And I walked out of the store spending $20 for hot dog buns. I'm guilty of it.
I can't say any names. My wife. I tease her nonstop. I've even had videos of it. She'll leave the truck and I'll video her. She'll tell me, she's like, I'm going in to get these 2 things. And then I put the video back on when she comes out. She's got 2 bags worth of stuff.
You know, when you're reading those statistics, I'm sitting there like 3 a week. And then I'm like sitting there thinking like, I did buy that beef jerky in the checkout lane. And, I'm like, you don't realize how good they are because that's the whole point. You don't even realize you're doing it because that's how well they've like designed the stores and all that sort of stuff is geared towards that impulse.
Yep, absolutely. So I got to share this story. So a couple weeks ago, that's actually about a month ago, I love, one of my hobbies is video and film and taking video of my kids and making movies and doing little fun things. This is just a hobby. I don't ever want to do it professionally or anything like that. It's just with all the cool stuff that's out there, a pretty average person like me can make some pretty cool stuff. And so such an idiot. I have always wanted one of these. Of course, I love like cool remote control drones, right? I think they're cool. I have one of like some of the cheapo ones, you know, that they make. None of them work anymore because they're cheap. So I've been having my eyes on some of the more expensive ones. And one of the cool parts about these drones is that they take freaking amazing video. Like, we're talking cinematic footage, and it has a lot of different features and cool stuff. Well, anyways, this manufacturer that I follow that has these, that I've been looking at for, I mean, this has been going on a couple years now. They came out with a brand new one. And they had like a highlight reel of this thing, and I fell for it hard. I didn't even know this thing existed, and I saw the advertisement for it in the morning, got the email. Of course, I clicked on the email, and then obviously, you know, the Facebook algorithms start kicking up, and I start seeing it in my Facebook news feed, still seeing the videos, and I tell my wife, and she, so bad. What does she use? She uses the words, "You work hard. You deserve it." Oh, it's so bad. And I'm like, you know what? You're right. I do deserve it. And I'm like, I'm still on the fence. I was like, I think I'm going to think about it for a while. You know, the whole 24-hour rule that I teach, right? I'm going to do that 24-hour rule. A couple hours goes by. I hop on my computer again. The website's still up, and there it is again. So I click on the high rate reel, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to buy it. And I bought it. I bought the drone. I felt awful the rest of the day. And I was like,
oh, really?
Oh my God, I did. I felt so bad. I was like, I teach this stuff and help people with this stuff for a living. What did I just do? I was like, I don't even deserve to do what I do. This is terrible. Literally, my wife didn't have to talk me back into it. A couple hours later, I emailed them, got on chat with them, and I said, I need to return this drone. And I sent it back. I got a refund, and I haven't looked back. I was like, I need to stay off that website. That thing's freaking dangerous. All right? But this is the perfect example right here of how easy it is. It doesn't matter where you are in your financial journey. Marketing is so good. And for someone like me who's been practicing a lot of the stuff that we talk about here, even for me, it can catch you off guard very, very quickly. And this wasn't a cheap drone. This was expensive. This wasn't like, you know, $100. It was a lot of money. And I couldn't believe that I had gotten emotionally taken advantage of to buy this drone. So, hey, I'm here to teach all of you how not to do that stuff today.
I love that you sent it back, Brad.
I did. And I have yet to share this with our Roots members. Some of them will be hearing it for the first time on this show, but again, it was a perfect example of just, it's so easy just to get taken advantage of from an emotional purchasing standpoint. So, let's talk about some tips that are going to help you avoid that, and which should have helped me avoid it, but they didn't that day. But luckily, hey, I had those tips kind of come back. A lot of the stuff that we're going to talk about kind of came back and is like, you didn't follow any of these rules, and you need to send that thing back. So let's talk about the first one. Let's talk about make a plan, all right? One of the biggest reasons why I think most people struggle with impulsive and wasteful spending habits is that they just don't really have any clear short-term or long-term goals or any real reason on why they're doing anything with their money. And if you don't have that, it's easy to always get taken advantage of, just like I did with this drone, with your spending. You're always going to, you know, you can go online, you can go to a store, you can see one of your friends or family have something. It's just, if you don't have clear goals, things that you're working towards, it's easy just to waste money because you don't have anything substantial to say or to give up. There's no real reason to say no because there's nothing to sacrifice for. You're not really working towards anything. So this one was a big one for me to stop a lot of the impulsive purchases that I've been making.
I think just having that clear focus and get out of debt is what helped us get there so quickly. And just, we knew exact dates. We were so focused. So having that down, and then it made it easier to just avoid those wasteful spending or buying drones.
See, this is why I didn't want to share this story, because I'm never going to live this one down.
If you get clear on your goals, I mean, for us, we were huge emotional spenders. we just always get wrapped up in the emotion of whether it's a car or whatever it is that we were buying. There was never any like real long-term plan of what we're trying to do. So it was more living for the day or the week or what I felt like that month, rather than living for, what's the future and what am I trying to accomplish here?
One of the many benefits of a budget is reduced impulsive and wasteful spending habits. So that's our next tip for you today on how you can cut this stuff out is you've got to have a written plan and budget for your money. So if you want something and you want to make a purchase, you need to have a plan for it and have that money set aside. And if it takes months to get there, then you just need to create a savings fund and being able to save up and make those purchases rather than, say, going into debt and again, being taken advantage of emotionally and pulling out those credit cards and swiping those credit cards. Also, it's going to guard you against spending a lot of money that you don't necessarily have. A lot of people are going into debt simply for the reason that they don't really know what's going on with their money. I mean, once you have a plan for your budget and once you know what your expenses are, you're going to be less likely to overspend and you're going to be very aware of how much debt that you have. And you're going to be less likely to have those wasteful spending habits kind of creep up on you.
When we did a budget, I mean, this was huge for us in our success. We feel like is we did allow money in our budget in areas for us that allowed us to spend money. We did have kind of like a fun account that was sometimes for not a drone because it wasn't that much money, but it was for kind of that, hey, we're at the store. Should we buy that for the yard and it's $20? Yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We did allow ourselves to do some of that, which for us, for the budget, as long as it was in the budget and we had the cash for it, then it made it okay for us to do those sorts of things.
Yeah, that's really important. I'm glad you bring that up because a lot of people ask that question. Is it okay for me to have a budget line item for miscellaneous purchases? And the answer is yes. As long as your budget can afford it, along with you being able to reach other financial goals, I think having those things in there is critical, obviously even long-term, so you don't stretch yourself too thin of not having any fun things because then you're just going to get burnt out. So yeah, I think having some of that stuff in there is really, really important. Another step in obviously impulsive and wasteful spending habits is to cut out the distractions. I just mentioned a bunch of them with this drone story. Facebook, email, those were the two big ones that got my attention to even start looking at this drone. And so the more you're on this stuff, the more you're subscribing, the more you're in some of these Facebook buyer groups, the more you're reading the sale ads that come in your mailbox or through your email, or any of these things, any of these marketing materials that are out there. Statistically, you're likely going to be spending more money because you're constantly in that mind of consuming. I need to buy something. I need to make a purchase, whether it's on sale or not. It's still spending money.
This was a game changer for us, for me, not my husband. It's not him. It's me. It was a game changer. Unsubscribing, leaving groups. And I think I did this 2 months in to the program. And I was like, I need to get rid of these temptations because this is killing me. I just wanted to buy everybody's stuff. So yeah, no, unsubscribe. If you're struggling, go through your email, go through your Facebook, do it. Seriously.
Yeah, I had to give up watching HGTV. Like, I love working on the house. I love projects. I love home improvement. I love all that stuff. And to this day, we're out of debt now. And to this day, my wife likes to watch it. She can watch it, but it is a trigger for me. If I watch that sort of stuff, it makes me like you were with the drone. Like, I want to go to Lowe's and do that project right now. And so I really have to limit my consumption of certain things like that because it is definitely still a trigger.
Yep. That's one of the reasons, honestly, and I didn't really even mention this in the drone story, but that's one of the reasons why I like this drone so much. And the more I talk about it on this show, I'm going to buy it. No, I'm just kidding.
Just have a plan, Brad. Save for
But
it.
no, there's this YouTube camping show that I've watched over the wintertime that's got some really just cool tips and stuff. Well, they have one of these, and they've got the drone. It shows the truck and the camper pulling up to the site from the air. It's like all these cool shots, and I'm like, yeah, I could totally do that. Why I need to do that, I don't know, but I got the idea from this show. Like, hey, we can make some really cool stuff that way too. And here I am spending money, unplanned money, on really something that I really don't need. So we're going to come back after the commercial break. We got 2 more tips for you, and then we're going to do some celebrations. Stay tuned. Hey, imagine a life without payments and debt. I'm telling you, it's possible. Now, I recently launched an incredible free workshop that will walk you through the first steps to reaching a stress-free and debt-free life. Now, the information that we're sharing inside this workshop has helped people save and pay off millions of dollars, and we've had thousands of people now register for this workshop. Now, I was broke at one time too, but by following a simple process, I paid off all of my debts, and I now live completely debt-free. And getting out of debt, it's not an easy road. This is hard work. So I know also what works and what doesn't work. And that's why we created this fantastic success path that's removing all of the confusion, and it's helping ordinary people have massive results. And I just want to share our success path with you in this workshop. Now, the goal of the workshop is really simple. We want to help you reduce stress. We want to provide you immediate and clear direction, also give you some really helpful insights, and give you some really cool tips to help you discover some of the first steps, some of the first things that you should work on as you get on the road to financial freedom. So head on over to therealdebtfreedad.com, click on Tools and Courses in the menu, and get free access to this course today. Hey guys, we are back and we are giving tips and tricks on how to stop impulsive and wasteful spending habits. So the 4th tip that we're going to be sharing with you here today is to consider the opportunity costs. And this is a big one, and this is ultimately one of the main reasons why I ended up sending the drone back. One was major guilt. I felt absolutely awful for making this purchase. But number 2 was my wife and I had other plans, and it was so easy to overlook those plans that we had already made and take that money from those plans to spend on this silly drone. And what ultimately, as I was thinking about throughout the day, was, man, I completely let this whole idea cloud all of the other things that we were going to do. And these were fun things too, but for some reason I put a priority over this drone. So when I started looking at, hey, by making this choice of buying the drone, I also made a choice of saying I can't do these other 3 things that me and my wife both had planned to do. How selfish is that, right? We planned this stuff as a family, and here I am taking that money and using it as a drone. So understand that when you make these impulsive purchases and these wasteful spending habits in the moment, make sure you're aware of that by making this decision today, you are giving up something else, whether it's the same day or in the future for sure, especially when it comes to some of these bigger purchases like getting yourself into car payments and motorcycles and boats and campers and things that cost some real money every single month for sure.
Gosh, a month before joining Roots, maybe 2, we decided that we deserved a new boat. We had a used boat. It was fine. It worked just good. And we actually went through it. This all happened within like a day. We were driving around. We're like, let's go look at boats. I think we need a new boat. We deserve it. We went through the whole process of applying for the boat, putting a small down payment on the boat, only to get denied. So we hung our heads low and we were so sad. But let me tell you, a couple months after joined Roots, holy cow, we were so thankful we did not get that boat, because it would have meant at least 15 more months of paying off debt before we were debt free and then moving on to other goals. So we were so thankful that we got denied for that darn boat.
Yeah, that's huge. I mean, I think that's a great point. And I mean, that understanding that decisions we make now about money has an impact on what we're trying to accomplish. We just never thought that way before. It wasn't until we went through this whole process that, hey, we can totally go do this. You could have bought that drone. You could have kept it, but it does mean that there was a decision to be made that other things couldn't happen. And I think that before it was like, I'm going to buy this, maybe this boat or go on this vacation, and I'm also going to do these other things. I'm just going to charge it. I'm just going to charge it all. Where now the mindset is, it's one or the other. It can't be all of it all the time.
Yeah, and another critical tip to really prevent this, and this has been a game changer for so many people, including myself, a lot of our Roots members, they said that this one tip has changed so much for them, and it's so simple, but it's also so simple to overlook. But it's just the fact of waiting 24 hours. And if Brad would have waited 24 hours, I wouldn't have had a moment like this.
We always say, what would Brad do? So
I know. That's why I felt so awful. Like, literally, my Roots members have this saying of what would Brad do? Oh, my gosh. I can't wait to just let this episode go out and share this with them because they just, it's real. It is. It's hard. It's not always easy. But seriously, waiting 24 hours is huge. Like we talk about, marketing is powerful. How I got kind of taken over with this marketing of this drone and the idea of having it, the cool memories I can make, right? All of the stuff that I was seeing in that video was every reason why I wanted to have it. So it was so easy just to say yes in that moment. But if I would have waited 24 hours, guess what? I would have saved myself a lot of time and concern about the stupid stuff I had just done. And I would have probably thought the next day, like, yeah, it's just not a good idea. And the decision would have been over. And there's been so many times where that actually has worked for me. Whether it's buying a camper, whether it's buying clothes, whether it's buying, anything in your life, just waiting 24 hours and giving yourselves that time to let that emotional need to buy something go away, you're going to find that 95, maybe even 99% of the time, you're not going to go back and make that purchase because you're out of that moment.
And if you're just listening to this is one of your first shows, go back and listen to our last episode. It was just all about patience because you might be going 24 hours. I can't wait 24 hours. And it's the whole world is, the reason that they're like the car dealers are like, we'll deliver it to you because they know when you wait 24 hours, there's a good chance you're probably not going to buy it or purchase it. So there's a reason why Amazon wants to ship it to you the same day. All these things are wired to get it to you now because they want you to make that decision and commit and pay and move on with your life and not take that time to think through it.
So hopefully those tips were going to help you guys here today. And again, as I've mentioned, it's never going to be perfect. And it's also going to take time for some of these things to start working in your life. But these 5 tips have dramatically changed my impulsive and wasteful spending habits. I know they've worked for many of our Roots members. So if you start working on some of these things, you'll probably find that over time, these impulsive and wasteful spending habits are going to have a less of effect on your budget and and really keeping you from reaching a lot of the goals that you have.
Hey, what's this I see? I thought this was a party! Let's dance!
All right, that sound means it's time for the celebrations of the show, and today's first celebration is Brad Nelson. He returned a drone that wasn't in his budget. Great job, Brad. I kid. First one up is Lacey Love. She says, emergency fund is back up to $2,000 and going on month 4 of no shopping for clothes, which is huge for me, she says. Great job, Lacey. Congratulations to you.
Shannon Liardi paid $4,061 towards debt, had an unexpected expense with her 9-year-old Great Dane, but they were able to use cash from their fun envelope and that they use for eating out to pay for it.
Yep. I love that celebration because, again, that shows you the freedom and flexibility that you have with a budget. You don't always have to rely just on your emergency fund savings when unexpected expenses come up. You can pivot. You can move things around, and that's one of the great things of having that plan, and that's a perfect example of that for Shannon.
Yeah, Tina Carrier came straight home after work instead of going to buy fast food, meal prepping for the week ahead in order to keep me from spending money on eating out.
Awesome. Way to go, Tina. Up next is Maisie Kennedy. I put another $570 into my savings, waiting for my car bill to pay it off, then threw the extra money into savings. Great job, Maisie.
Carrie Piotrowski Brogan, $300 towards emergency fund. All but 2 of my bills are paid for the month, she says.
Awesome. Way to go, Carrie.
Natalie Hochedal put another $120 towards my car loan.
Awesome. Huge congratulations to all of you who are working so hard on these celebrations. Great stuff. Hey, thanks for hanging out with us here today. We love your feedback, and it also helps us grow our YouTube show. So please give us a like or leave us some honest feedback here. We would love to connect with you. And if you want the latest from the show, be sure to hit that notification bell and subscribe to our channel. And oh, by the way, if you heard that commercial about our Life Without Payments free course, you can head over and find that at therealdebtfreedad.com. Just click on tools and courses, and you'll have access to all of our free tools right there. We'll see you guys on an upcoming show.